Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Bayou Sugar Garden. I am Bayou Sugar, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome in. If not, welcome back. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all of you. Those of you who are live here in the chat on YouTube. I appreciate you and those of you who are live here in Facebook. I appreciate you as well. Just want to say, guys, please feel free to comment back and forth with me as we go over the subject tonight. And, guys, just to get a few of the preliminaries out of the way, make sure you hit that like button on your way in. If you haven't, go ahead and hit it right now. Just make sure you hit it before you leave out. Also, guys, want to say if you are catching the replay, I appreciate you. One time for those, didn't mean to press that. But one time for those who are here catching those who are catching the replay. And for those of you all who are in the bushes, one time for you. And for those of you who are here live in the chat with me, I appreciate you. Let's see, we got an early bird in here, the Bud Files. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So, guys, I won't be here long. I have to work tonight, but I did want to come and bring this information to you guys before I head out, and while it's still fresh in my mind, and because I know that it will help a lot of us who are trying to be our most healthier self, and those of you guys who are doing the um, hashtag sugar free Sunday and the hashtag natural sugar. So, for those of you who don't know, um, a couple of people, myself and a couple of other people, have decided to do a lifestyle change where we are um, turning over our labels and reading the ingredients to make sure that it does not contain added sugar. We're only consuming natural sugar, trying our best to. And on this journey, we've learned that some things that you buy in the store have hidden sugars, and some of those hidden sugars you know about, they're on the label, and some of them are not. Some of them are not just the word sugar, but it's different names that they use. So we've learned to watch out for that. And we also have been limiting our carbs to 225 grams, 225 to 325 is our carb count. So we've been doing that. Oh, in addition to the consuming natural sugar. So what I wanted to share with you guys is the discussion that we had. I think it was yesterday, so sometime this week, about a video that I wanted to share with you guys, because I want to share it tonight because my internet is kind of iffy. So I'm hoping that it'll sustain and work out tonight. And while it was working earlier, I said, let me go ahead and use this internet while it's working good so we can get through this, and hopefully we won't have any hiccups and I can get this information to you guys. So I want to share this with you because it has helped me on my health journey, and I'm hoping that it will help someone else find their path to their most healthiest self. Let me also give a disclaimer. I am not your health professional. I am a health professional. This information is not medical advice. Please consult your doctor when making any lifestyle changes. And this information I'm giving you is for educational and informational purposes only. Do with it what you will, what you may. And bottom line, I stress, do your own research. Don't take my word for it or nobody else's word for it. Do your own research and follow what works for your body. Okay? So, we're going to go ahead and get started with this video I found. Um, like I said, it helped me and opened my eyes to something that I wanted to add to my lifestyle change that I'm currently doing. And I must say, it has been helping me. And I'm hoping that it will help you as well. So let me share my screen. And again, you guys, our video is courtesy of YouTube, and the channel is The Diary of a CEO. So if you guys would like to go over there and visit them or possibly watch the video at your own leisure, of course, we won't get through this whole video. It's 2 hours long, but we'll get through most of it. And we already have another video in the queue that we'll come back. We have to come back and get to. And we'll get through that on Saturday. We'll wrap up with the video. Saturday evening will probably be like a long session where we'll wrap up the video about the insulin resistance, and then we'll finish this one. So let's get started with this one.
Not being discussed, but this is how we should be looking at health. So the first thing is
Dr. Mindy Peltz!
The renowned health expert is back.
And she's on a mission to empower people to take control of their health through fasting, nutrition, and lifestyle changes.
we are in a crisis of health, and your health right now may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility.
So I have questions. What is the lie about the food environment?
The biggest lie is that all food is safe. There are foods that are medicine, and there are foods that will build disease.
How do we know the difference?
Learn to read an ingredient label. So the first thing I do is
Interesting. Are there foods that are cancer feeding?
Yep. So there's processed meats. Sugar's a biggie. The toxic oils and donuts, juice boxes, horrific.
How important is our liver in all of this?
The most important.
Is there any symptoms of an unhealthy liver?
Yes. I call them checklists. First, you can look at the bottom of your feet. Do you want to put it up on the table?
No, because people will sell pictures. How many times a day do you think we should be eating?
Great question. And studies show us that the longer you spend not eating, the more your body heals itself and starts to burn belly fat.
But Ozempic has a tool for achieving the same outcome.
But one of the biggest consequences we've seen is, this is why I'm such a fasting fan.
So what are some of the lesser known benefits of fasting?
There's a whole bunch of them. But I'm going to say the biggest thing is
We've just hit 6 million subscribers on the Diary of a
those,
CEO. So me and my team would like to do something we've never done before as a little thank you.
those bites. Hold on, let me get to the interview.
powerful we are.
Hold on.
And for women,
Dr. Mindy, last time we sat here, subscribers at random, and we'll send one of you a £1,000 voucher, one of you tickets to come and watch the Diary of a CEO. Been fasting 6 months ago after I watched it. Dr. Mindy,
There we go.
last time we sat here, the conversation we had reached more than 10 million people across YouTube and Spotify and iPlayer and airlines and everywhere. And I was looking through some of the feedback from that conversation, and there's two of these top comments that I pulled out, which I think kind of capture the impact it had on so many people. The first comment is from a lady called Anne, And she said, Dr. Mindy changed my life. I started intermittent fasting 6 months ago after I watched this podcast, and I've dropped 18 pounds and have never felt or looked better. The second comment I pulled out was from a 57-year-old lady who said, going through menopause, morbidly obese, going through a lot of stress in my personal life, and fasting because of Dr. Mindy has finally saved me. I've been doing a 36 to 48 hour test every week to fast, and it has really bolstered my confidence, and I can now do really hard things. Thank you.
There's so much on that one. There's so much on that one. That second one. I mean, that is empowerment. Those two got empowered, but that last woman got really empowered. She did that for herself, and she knows it. As she can do hard things, she is absolutely right.
It has really bolstered my confidence, and I can now do hard things. It's not typically what you think of when you think of fasting, that it gives you confidence and the ability to do hard things in other areas of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard you interview guests like this, and I've heard many people talk about how easy we've made life right now. You can sit on your couch and you don't even have to get off the couch and food will appear at your door, and you can control your TV, and you can call a friend, and there's so much you can do without even moving it. Life has gotten so easy that we are losing that ability to really learn how powerful we are. And for women with health, it's gotten even worse. So what I love about that comment is that she took the information, she applied it, she got a result. Kind words to me, but she deserves all the credit. And she feels different, not just physically, but emotionally, and what she's capable of. Like, those are the comments that just blow me away, because only you can close your mouth and not eat.
And I guess it tells you something about yourself when you're able to do that, which is, I guess, resisting some kind of temptation.
Yep.
Which is, you're building evidence with yourself that I am the type of person that has control and autonomy over my destiny. And it's remarkable how much that must impact your professional life, your relationships, all these kind of things, your ability to put other boundaries in place in your life.
Yeah.
And it all starts with this simple discipline, which is, fasting.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at the impact that this book, Fast Like a Girl, had globally?
It has blown me away. I knew when I wrote the book that I had a formula that worked, because I had spent 10 years in my practice using it with women. I'd seen the kind of results like you just read over and over again. Then I took those results and I took them to my YouTube channel, and I started teaching it on YouTube. And I don't know if every YouTube creator does this, but I would always ask questions, and I would say to people, give me answers as to how this is working for you. And then I had a team of people that went in and gathered those answers. We looked at patterns, and that's how the information in Fast Like a Girl was born. Is it was not just an idea, it wasn't just science, but it was, when I wrote it, it was like, oh, we already seen this across
If any
hundreds of
of you
thousands
have
of women
purchased
that it's
that
going
book
to
or
work.
have that book, let me know.
But you
Put it
never
in the
really
comments.
know
Let me
until
know.
you put a book like that out into the
Fast
world
Like a Girl.
how it's all going to unfold and how it's going to be received. In a year and a half, worldwide, 717,000 copies of that book on all styles. That's audio, audible, and ebook and hardcover. The amount of reviews, positive reviews, the amount of DMs we've had. I had to double my staff to be able to answer the DMs. Like, I have actually picked the book up more than 10 times and asked myself, what did I put in there? Like, why is this connecting so much? Because there's something where women just were finally given a tool that worked, and it didn't cost money, and it didn't take time, and it didn't give her power away. And she saw that.
Men
And
don't feel bad.
that part blew me away.
This includes you, even though she's
Is
stressing
that
women.
why it connects? Because it's not expensive, complicated. It's not something you need a prescription for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, think about it. You go into your doctor's office, you have a long list of symptoms. You give those symptoms over to your doctor. He or she gives you an official title of that symptom. You're like, oh, finally somebody understands it. And so you go and maybe you take the diagnosis, the prescription or the treatment, you go fulfill the treatment. Let's say the drug works. You're like, the doctor was amazing, the drug was amazing. There's no empowerment in that at all. Now, if the pill doesn't work, then what ends up happening is you go back to the doctor and you're like, hey, pill didn't work. And the doctor says, okay, well, let's try a different pill. And then you try a different pill. And you do that like 3 or 4 times. And if it still doesn't work, then what happens is now you go to a different doctor. You're like, I got to go to a different doctor. This one's not working. And we keep outsourcing our power, looking for answers. Somebody show me, somebody show me.
That is so true.
But
How
with
many of you been to
fasting,
bed?
what happened is we showed this idea of metabolic switching where there's a time to eat and there's a time not to eat. And the longer you spend not eating, the more your body heals itself. And that concept, I think women had never really had grabbed before. And it was a tool that was so available. They could listen to to the podcast we did and apply it like an hour later. And all of a sudden, again, the only person to give credit to is yourself. And so I mean, maybe exercise. Exercise would be that tool. What other tools do we have that make you feel that powerful that quickly?
What is if someone has never come across the concept of fasting before, which I think is probably quite implausible now, but can you give me the sort of like evolutionary basis for fasting? Why does it help? And where were we told a lie? Like, where did we take a wrong turn in the last 1,000 years, which made us, I don't know, just become really gluttonous and have 5 meals a day and so on?
Okay, so before she answers that question, I just want to pause and say and point out that the point that she said about we keep outsourcing our problems. Like we're the ones dealing with our bodies, but instead of us trying to figure it out and sit down and understand what's going on and try to relate that to what we're doing that's causing the problem, we go to the doctor and tell them what's wrong, and then in turn they give us stuff to treat our symptoms. They're not giving you something to help find what the root source of the problem is. They're just treating symptoms. Again, let me just iterate that healthcare professionals are practicing. They're just practicing. Hey, girl, thank you for being here, my girl, CC. For listening from the bushes. I appreciate you. They are practicing medicine. So as healthcare professionals, we've went to school and learned different things. Some of them was the right thing, some of them was the wrong thing, but we've learned how to treat your symptoms. You come to a doctor's office or go to a healthcare facility and you tell them my head hurt, my stomach hurt, I get dizzy when I do this, and I got this pain in my back. Well, they're gonna give you some Tylenol and tell you to take an aspirin, however many certain times a day. That's gonna take care of your headache. Here, take this pill. You take this. This gonna take care of that pain in your back. Here, take this. You got dizziness. This gonna take care of your dizziness. And then they'll ask you, well, what were you doing? Just to write down in the notes, what were you doing when these symptoms happen, and write that down and all of that. But the immediate response, or the first thing you're gonna get, is treat the symptoms. Then after you have been coming a couple of times treating the symptoms, eventually they'll take the long process or the long road to finding out what's the root cause of your headache. You keep having headaches that didn't go away with the medicine and they give you. Well, let's see what's going on with your body and see what's causing the headaches. So this is where at the point in 2025, you have to become your own, well, you should have been your own advocate. But now you really have to be your own advocate and just use your doctor as a second opinion to you, because you live with you all of your life, every day of your life, every minute, every second. Only you know what you do and what goes on. You shouldn't go to a doctor expecting him to tell you what's going on with your body because they don't know what you're doing outside of the doctor's office. And truth be told, half of us don't even go in there and tell them everything that's going on because you don't want to be put on the medicine. So you withhold information. You give them what you think they need to know, right? You don't want to tell them that you eat a lot and that's why you borderline diabetic because you don't want to be a diabetic and you don't want him to test your blood sugar. You just want him to give you that weight loss medicine so you can lose weight. Amen, somebody. I'm just saying. So that's why you have to advocate for yourself and listen to your body. Get yourself to a point where you can pay attention to what your body is trying to tell you, bottom line, so that you can adjust, make the adjustments on your own. Now, what you need to go to the doctor for is for them to draw your blood work and do all of stuff on the cellular level that you can't see at home. Do the x-rays and all of that, and that'll be information they just giving to you. You paying them to give you information to figure it out. Cece say, and the butcher say, "Amen." You a trip, girl. You a trip. So let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's continue. She's gonna give you the history or how fasting came about in her opinion.
Well, let's start with what fasting is, and then I'll dive into the lie. I have a lot of thoughts on the lie. If we go back to hunter-gatherer days, one thing that blows me away is that the human body we're living in is literally the same. It's the same as the hunter-gatherers, but what we're sitting in, what we're exposed to, the physical, emotional, chemical stressors that are handed to us every single day is completely like opposite what the hunter and gatherers were doing. So if I go back to the hunter and gatherers, they came out of the cave. They didn't have DoorDash. They didn't have a refrigerator. They didn't know how to get food. They had to go find food.
Convenience
Now,
is killing
if
us.
blood sugar is going down and they've got to go find food and they pass out, 100 yards from the cave, then we wouldn't be sitting here right now. But that didn't happen. What happened is they went out to go hunt, and the longer they were away trying to find food, the more they metabolically switched into this other fuel source called the ketogenic energy system. I like to call it the fat burning system because what their body did, we were like a hybrid car. The body was like, okay, blood sugar's going down. Okay, time to switch over to our other fuel source. We're going to pop in and start burning fat and make a ketone. And then that ketone went up into their brain, sharpened their focus, and made them even stronger to go find food.
Mhm.
Today, we don't do that. We don't ever lean into this other system that our hunter and gatherer ancestors had to lean into. There's so much oversaturation of food and ideas and stimulation coming at us that we never had there are like biological processes in our bodies that we're not even accessing anymore, but they exist.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause right there just to say I agree with what she's saying, and then but there is a little difference between besides our environment and the things we are exposed to. Our diet changed from the hunter gatherer. They wasn't eating as much meat as we're eating now, and so because we're in the American diet, we eat way more meat than the hunter gatherer days, and so our body had to evolve or develop different to where we have more. Our intestinal makeup is different because it had to adapt to what we were eating to process all of this meat that we're eating. So that's another thing that has changed for us physically. We have changed.
I think you and I talked about this last time. In the book, I talk about something called the thrifty gene hypothesis. Now, it's a hypothesis, and the idea was the humans that came out of that hunter-gatherer time had a gene that allowed them to switch over into the fat-burning system and make a ketone in the absence of food. And so all of the people that survived that time period
Right,
They
Cece, you're
morphed
right.
into what we're looking at as each other right now, because the ones that didn't have that genetic profile didn't live. So they're no longer with us. So now we're sitting with this thrifty gene inside of us, eating all day. And what they believe is happening is that because we're not accessing that gene, that the people that are suffering now is on the opposite, are the ones that are not tapping in to the fat burning system. The ones that are not accessing that are actually killing themselves because they're not in alignment with their own biology.
Kind of have a lot of empathy for them in some respects because of, it's difficult, isn't it, when we're surrounded by this much free, cheap glucose, sugar, carbohydrates to,
Dopamine.
to fight back against the environment you live in.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're asking people to do. It's like fight their natural urges. Presumably the brain also has a gene which says, listen, if you see sugar,
Yeah.
you better grab it and put it in your mouth.
Yep. And there's some microbes doing that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. There can be fungus in your gut that tells your taste buds, hey, I need more sugar because they got to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
Our taste buds have been completely
Hey, Wanda,
hijacked by all the
welcome in.
chemicals poured onto our food. So we get so much dopamine now from food that sometimes all we have to do is walk into a grocery store and look at our favorite food and see it in the aisle. We haven't even picked it up, put it in the basket. We're like, ooh, that potato chip. I love that potato chip. And that's creating a dopamine response in our brain because our brain knows when I eat that, I get dopamine.
And what is the lie then? We talked about the lie that's been...
Okay, let me pause right there before she go any further. Welcome in, Wanda Carr. Thank you for being here. Cece, yep, put it in your mouth. Right. Pause. Pause, Cece, pause. So I wanted to take a pause right there because if you guys hadn't had a chance to see White Size Tactical on YouTube, they have their last live. This was Heart Healthy Month, and they were talking about meal prepping and meal planning. And I asked Dr. Coy and Dr. Eric and Dr. Derek, I asked them a question about why do I crave sugar, or why can I continue to eat sugar or junk food even after I have eaten a full meal and I'm full. I can't eat another bite of that meal, but I could go grab a cookie and I could eat more, as much of them, as I want, even though if I was to go back and try to finish my meal, I couldn't, but I could eat that junk food. And their explanation is exactly in line with what this video is saying, that and I asked them, was that's just in my mind? What is just mental? Sissy said, Dr. Sleep a lot. Yes. He was tired that live. He was very tired. So I asked them, is it just me? Is it just me being defiant, or is that mental? And so, hey, Felicia, welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So I asked, was it just me, or was that just, what's going on? And so they gave me a great answer, which is what she just said. Not only is it just, that's my body is doing that. My body is sending those signals, telling me that, I want this. And there are receptors in your body that he says when you eat it, it sends off that signal to eat more of this, eat more of this. It sends those signals because that's how they make that food up. Those components in their food is made for you to want more and crave it. And so that's why when you eat those junk food, you can eat a whole lot of it and you want more, because that's how it's genetically made. It's made to turn that switch on in your body. And so this is what she's saying: when you automatically release these chemicals, or these what's the correct word I want to say? I can't even think of the name. Hormones. You release these hormones in your body that makes you want this stuff. So it's not just you not being want to do it. It's part of you not having no self-control, but it's also your genetic makeup, is your body saying this is what I want. and I want it now and I want more. Okay, so don't y'all feel bad. It ain't all the time just you. You just cannot control it because you just weak. Don't think that, but it also has something to do with your body. You don't have any control over that to a certain point. You just have to change what you're doing. You don't have any control over it if you indulge in it, is what I'm saying. If you learn to fast, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Fast and cleanse your body out of those things, then you won't have that problem. But if you have these things as part of your diet, then you don't have control over those cravings. It's just like a person that's on drugs. Once you do that, your body craves it, and it's hard for you to stop it because it's in your system. You got to get it all out of your system. You know how they um try to stop using drugs and you go through those withdrawals, but once you get through those withdrawals, you're fine. Sometimes that you have falls, but that's how it is. You have that sugar in your system, and that's, yes, endorphin, CC. You have those things in your those unhealthy food habits and things in your system, and once you eliminate that from your diet, you really gain control back. You gain your control back. So let's continue on. Felicia, say amen.
And told to people about the food environment, about 5 meals a day, etc. What is that lie, and why were we told the lie?
The biggest lie is that all food is safe. Not all food is safe. And a part of that lie is I can walk into my grocery store and it's already been vetted for my health. Now, I can tell you in America, that's not the case. We have a category of food called GRAS, generally recognized as safe in our country. And basically what the FDA can do is the FDA can put chemicals under this category when it hasn't been scientifically proven to be safe. They can repackage them and put them in this category of generally recognized as safe. The idea is that we have a innocent until proven guilty philosophy around food.
Wow. That's all I'm gonna say.
And it's even gone even further, where within their own administration in the FDA, people are saying that the F is silent. They don't care about the food. And then if you go even further and you think about it, how do we have food and drug together in
Huh? Somebody, this lady right here is the truth. Like she's saying what some of us have been saying, and some of us are just waking up to it. So just for some of you who don't know what she mean with the F, they don't pay attention to the F. FDA stands for Food Drug Administration. But the F part, she say they talking about, they don't concentrate on the food part. They concentrate on the drug administration.
the same administration? If we really cared about food, we would actually pull it out separate and we would have a bigger, better analysis of food.
I agree.
So the lie is that all food is safe. That's not true at all. There are foods that are medicine, and there are foods that will build disease.
Yeah.
And just because we call them both food doesn't mean they're safe. You have to know the difference.
How do we know the difference?
Well, the first thing is learn to read an ingredient label. So, do you know how to read an ingredient label?
I would say no.
So the first thing I do on anything that's packaged is I go straight to the ingredients. And this is so easy. All you've got to do is look at those ingredients and ask yourself, do I know every single one of those ingredients? And if you don't, entertain yourself and go look them up. I actually did this with my nephew years ago. He brought me some frozen waffles.
That's what we've been
and he's
doing.
like, hey, what do you think? Are these safe? And I said, read them out loud to me. And he started to read them out loud. He was like 14 years old at the time. He started to and he couldn't get through, like, the third ingredient in was a chemical. And he's like, I don't know how to pronounce this. I said, go look it up. I want you to Google it and look it up and tell me
Google
what
it,
it is.
baby.
And he came back and he's like, wait a second.
You hear,
What I
huh,
just
Wanda?
found is that's a cancer-causing chemical. I said, yeah, you're right. It is. That's what's happening, is that these chemicals are allowed in our food that promote disease. And so then once you have that idea and you know the ingredients are the most important and you follow, is it a chemical? Is it a real food? Then the next thing you can do is really stay away from anything with an ingredient label. Like when you go into a grocery store, walk around the outside. Don't go into those middle aisles. Go to the refrigerated sections. Go to the fresh food. If it doesn't have a label, it means it's authentic self. So they didn't denature it. They didn't change it. It came from the earth or it came from an animal, whatever your ethos is around there. But it wasn't put into an altered state. Because what they do is they put these things into altered states so that they taste better and they hijack your taste buds so you'll come back for more. Or they put it into an altered state so that it can last longer on the shelf. And if it lasts longer on the shelf, that chemical's lasting longer in you.
The lie around frequency of eating.
Hold up before she get this lady dropping bombs. But for those of you that have been keeping up, we know this, but we just, like trying to bring awareness to everybody else. Cece says, yes, you find some ingredients are used in rat poisons. Yep. Look, FR say facts. Yes, she's talking about raw foods in their natural state. Look, you hear how Wanda make you want to jump up and say, yes, that's what I've been trying to say. That's what I just found out. And we shouting it from the mountaintops, y'all. We on a mission. I would love for a whole lot of people for the light bulb to go off, but it's like me. I've heard this several times before, but it took me some time to hear it and for the light bulb to go off for me. So now that it's gone off for me, I'm going to share it and keep sharing it and hope that the light bulb will go off for somebody else. But yeah, y'all, turn your labels around. Read it. If you can't pronounce it, don't know what it is, I know you got your phone with you. Google it, baby, and see what it means and see if it's safe for human consumption. If not, put it back. Get something else. Because that means it's been altered for shelf value so they can keep it on the shelf long enough to make money. And like she said, it could be something that could cause you to be sick. And in turn, they send you to the doctor so they can make money.
Because, when I grew up, I breakfast, lunch, you might have something, a couple of
Hey,
snacks, and then have
Sylvia.
dinner.
Welcome
And then you wake
in.
up the next day and go through the same routine of just basically eating every waking hour of the day that you can and snacking in between.
Hold on. Me welcome in a few people. Welcome in, Sylvia. God's desire for me. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I am so glad that you in the chat tonight because I wanted to tell you that you intrigued me with your fasting. How are you doing with it? The last time we talked, she said that she was like I think it was a 30-day fast. I can't remember if it was a water fast or what, but I know you were doing a 30-day fast. And that inspired me. So I want to let you know you inspired me to do some more research on fasting to see how it could be helpful for me. And baby, thank you, girl. Thank you. Because I see now. My eyes are open. And thank you so much for sharing your information, sharing your story because it helped me. Hey, Growing with Hudson, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Cece said, being a substance abuse counselor, food has the same pleasure as drugs. Right. Your body don't know the difference. It doesn't. It does not. G Hud is reminding y'all, hit that thumbs up, please. If you haven't, please do so at this time. Yes, FRSA, putting it back is the hard part. It is the hard part. And I agree with you, especially if you don't have an alternative. It's easier for it's easy. I find it easy for me to put it back if I know that there is something else. Like in my house, we eat a lot of spaghetti, eat a lot of pasta. And so I was like, okay, well, I can just jar pasta, but there's no way at this point in my life that I can grow enough tomatoes to jar enough pasta sauce so that it could last us, from one season to the next. But I did find an alternative to ragu because ragu is sweet and they got a whole bunch of sugar in it. I did find an alternative pasta sauce. I want to say it's called Newman's Own, and it's organic, no added sugars, and it tastes good. And sometimes that's the struggle, Felicia, trying to put it back because if you get something else, you wonder if it's gonna taste good or if it's gonna be nasty. But eating healthy doesn't isn't always nasty. So yeah, that's the struggle. That is definitely the struggle. And sometimes it's more expensive. Yep, it is. Multidextrin, do not put that in your body. It is poison. Ding, 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 ding. Y'all better listen to Sylvia. Hey, Nikki, welcome in. Thank you for being here one time for Nikki. She should say, bye you. See, you brung me out the hood. Okay, I'm back to listening. Girl, it's just intriguing. Can't help it. Hey, LGG. Welcome in. Welcome in. Okay, so God as I said, I did 19 days of water fasting. I'm eating raw now. You're very welcome. I stopped because one couldn't shake the nausea, but I will be starting again in April. Girl, I thank you so much. You just don't know how much you have helped me by sharing your journey. And I'm trying to pay it forward, passing the word on to other people. Yes, growing with Hudson say, or make your own out of your own spaghetti sauce. That is right, out of fresh tomatoes. What's going on, Analytic? Welcome in. Mike's Chaotic Garden. Welcome in, Mike. Yeah, so one day we're gonna get this thing going to where in our community, us gardeners will be able to share with each other when if one of us has the resources to where that we can grow enough for our own families and then supply those who of us who can't, or when we get low, we can barter with each other so that we can make sure that we all have what we need. So that will be amazing. Let's see. Sylvia says rice. Yeah, rice is hard for me too. I eat everything with rice. I'm Hey David, welcome in. Thank you for being here. I eat so much with rice. What the heck? Check out. Oh, David. Why your thing show up like this, David? Did you change your name? You see how his show up with faces? Check out David Core with the crop. That's weird. I never seen that before. Okay, y'all. So let's continue on with the video. Oh wait, Sylvia says maltodextrin is a type of carbohydrate, but it undergoes intense processing. Yes, it comes in the form of a white powder from rice, corn, wheat, or potato starch. So that's what she was saying when she typed the letting y'all know multi multidextrin is in rice, and it raises your blood sugar. People be looking at. I shared this video that my Renaissance grandma showed us. She shared with me, and I share with you guys that multidextrin will raise your blood sugar more than regular table sugar. It will skyrocket your blood sugar really high. So you definitely want to stay away from that. Definitely want to stay from that, away from that. Hey Tampa, welcome in. Thank you for being here. He said, in the bushes listening. In the bushes listening. Let's see. Nikki says, what about rinsing the rice 2 to 3 times? I think the washing the rice, I could be wrong, but from what I'm saying, rinsing the rice, I don't think it messes with the genetic makeup of the rice. The maltodextrin is part of the makeup when they process it in the rice. So washing it may get off of whatever they spray, chemicals they spray on top of it or whatever. But maltodextrin is part of the actual makeup of the rice. She says it messes with the gut bacteria. Yes, it definitely does. And we need to get our gut health under control. Huh? And we just learned that yeah, in the US it say it's safe, but that rice that they got over in other countries, it ain't the same one that we got here. Yes, Mike, he says it raises your blood sugar, maltodextrin raises it extremely high.
Who told us this lie? And is it a lie? Because it kind of seems to be the antithesis of fasting.
Yep. Well, from what I can find, and I'm sure there's lots of ways we've perpetuated this lie, but breakfast is the most important meal of the day was a ad slogan for Kellogg's Corn Flakes back in the 70s. So back in 1970, they had a hot new cereal, and the ad was, eat it, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Here we are in
Thank
2024,
you, David.
and people are still perpetuating that ad slogan. So I've actually looked into the research on, like, if I eat more, will it speed up my metabolism? From what I can tell from the research, I can't find that. Now, let's say we just leave the research out of it. I would like to meet a human that has eaten 6 meals a day and found that that was a metabolism stimulator. Like, I don't know very many people that say that. So it's like a cultural lie that just got sort of passed down. And what happened when the fasting research came out, now,
That part, that
people like
part.
Walter Longo, people like Sachin Panda, like big fasting researchers, what they figured out was, oh, wait, if we compress our eating into a certain time period like our ancestors did, and we left longer for fasting, there's something magical going on here. And those were the giants that started to show us that actually time-restricted eating is the most important thing that we can be doing when it comes to food.
What about calorie restricted eating?
Yeah.
And is that the same thing?
No, thank you for asking that. So let's talk about both of them in an everyday kind of scenario. So in time restriction, you are saying, I have a certain time in my 24 hours where I eat, I compress my eating window, and then I have a time where I'm fasting. So I have an eating window and I have a fasting window. Okay, and I get to decide how compressed that eating window is and how long that fasting window is. The longer you go in the fasting window, what you're doing is you're turning on these different healing mechanisms. And that is independent of calories coming in or not coming in. That is dependent on nutrients not coming in. That is dependent on glucose going down and switching over to burning fat so you make a ketone. That has nothing to do with calories. When you come over to calorie restriction, you're saying, I'm going to have X amount of calories a day. I'm going to output X amount of calories, and I'm going to do that all day long. So very different philosophies to me. Like you're creating a internal mechanism with time restriction that is going to stimulate a healing process. And it's nutrient deficiency along with glucose drop. It doesn't have to do with calories.
So I want you guys to understand what she's saying. The benefits of fasting is, and the difference between fasting and counting your calories or your carbs. Fasting promotes healing. It gives your body time to rest, to rejuvenate, and get rid of excess, and um basically recharge your body. Whereas counting calories and carbs, all we're doing is just limiting what we put in our body. You're just limiting the amount, which both of them are good. And if you ask me, you need both of them. They work together. You need to count so that you won't overdo it, because you really don't need that much. And so the fasting you need is basically giving your body rest, giving it a break. And that's, if you think about it, when you do a job or when you do anything in life, you take a break. You don't just work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have to get a break, because if you don't get a break, you'll get tired. If you do the same thing over and over and over again, you get tired and don't want to do it no more. Same thing with your body. You have to give it a break and give it time. So that is basically the bottom line of why you should do at least intermittent fasting, because you need to give your body time to heal. Yes, and y'all are so right about these. Yeah, please, y'all do y'all research about Kellogg's and Graham, and y'all find out all this information. Sylvia says, I have found eating less and excluding sugar and carbs speed up my metabolism. Okay, I eat between 5 to 6. Rest of the day, I fast, drink water. Okay, 5 to 6, probably small meals during the day. Okay. David said they did the same thing. They did chicken like that in our communities. Yep. David says fasting actually makes you think better. Yes, it does clear your mind. Mike says I eat now 2 to 3 hours after I wake in the morning. After I wake and I am hungry. I've lost so much weight. Mike, listen. I wish I would have known this years ago. I wish I would have known this years ago, and I wouldn't be trying to work. I feel like I'm working backwards. When if I would have known this years ago, I could have did this and I never would have got sick. Fasting also heals. That's right, David. It heals. Right. Digestion uses most of our energy. It does. Yeah, truth, Mike. Girl, why is you on here in yo? I'm not gonna put that. She said, I don't want to. Well, you better, Tampa. I know. I hate the commercials. I hate them. I hate them. I'm sorry. I don't even have. I'm not monetized to where I can accept commercials. They put them in there, so I don't have no control over it. When I do have control of it, I'm gonna put no commercials, because you could be in the middle of something important and they don't. You know, yeah, they be messing it up. Fasting is when you put energy to repairs and building. Right. You allow your body to use that energy instead of using this energy to break down all that sugar you just ate. No, I eat once per day. Oh, okay. You eat once per day, Sylvia. Okay. Between 5 and 6. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And then you fast. Girl, that's why yeah, that's a good way. Gives you headache. Okay, well, then you have to tailor it, Tampa, to where it won't give you headaches. Let me tell you, in the beginning, it's going to give you a headache. But what you do, since you know that it's going to give you a headache, you prepare before you do it. What I did, I made me a tea, and I have a video. I can't remember the exact ingredients, but I know it was reishi mushrooms, basil, and lemon, and it was something else. I made a tea out of it, and it helps with headaches. After I drank that tea, go look at my short. It's a short that says, I don't know what's the short say, but I'll send it to you. I made it because I started getting headaches when we first started, when I did the cleanse. Within 15 minutes of me drinking it, my headache started to go away. And after 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, my headache was gone. So you prepare for that, knowing that it's going to happen. And that's just your body way of rejecting what is going on. So you have to, now that you have tried it several times, you know how your body going to react, prepare for it ahead of time. Prepare ahead of time when you decide to make these lifestyle changes. That is your increases your chances of being more successful with sticking with it. And then you have to tailor it to what you can do. You may not be able to do all 12 hours starting out the gate. Don't jump out there naked in the water. Put some clothes on first. You might have to start off fasting about 6 hours. And let me tell you how easy it is. You sleep how many hours a day? Let's just say 4. So that means you fasting while you sleep. You ain't eating, you fasting. So then once you get up, don't eat. Fast for 4 hours after you get up. That means you have to fight yourself and your body for 4 hours. That's an easy way to start. After you get up, just drink water until after those 4 hours. Start in baby steps. And then as you continue, you'll notice you can increase it for longer. Heck, your sleep might even be longer. You may be a person that sleep 8 hours a day. That's 8 hours easy. You don't have to think about that because you're going to be asleep. You ain't eating in your sleep. So that's 8 hours. So from that 8, 9, 10, 11, 4 more hours while you up, that's 12 hours you done fasted. And 8 of it was no effort. None. So it's that easy. I had to think about it like that myself. It's that easy. I sleep 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours a day. And when I get up, I don't like breakfast. Most of us, 9 times out of 10, don't eat breakfast. We get up and go and probably realize, oh, by lunchtime I need to eat. You probably already fasting and don't even know it. So then at that point, what you would need to do is realize, okay, I'm already fasting. So then let me start eliminating this added sugar and maybe extend my fast a little bit longer and pay attention to my labels and the way to come up. Mike said, me too. It's do basics. Yep. You got this, girl. It's so basic. Yep, you got this, girl. You got this. How many hours in 24 hours in a day? And if you sleep 8 of them, look, I work 12 of them. Okay, it's 24 hours in a day. I work 12 of them. That means I got 12 of them left. 4 or 5 of them hours, I'm sleeping. And you mean to tell me there's what, 6 hours left? No, because that would mean 12 of them hours. That means 7 or 8 hours left to eat. I'm not eating. I don't need to eat 7 or 8 hours worth of food. You don't. You're going to go out there 7 or 8 hours. You're going to go to the garden. You're going to watch TV. Or you're going to be on YouTube a couple of hours. Find something to occupy your time. And that'll get your mind off food for those couple of hours. You work, go do well, I said 12 hours of working. Between work and sleep, that's most of your time. And then you just only have a couple of hours. Intentionally, you probably only have 4 to 5 hours that you would have to, well, 3 to 5 hours that you would have to intentionally fight your body to not do it. But once you get over it, 3 days to a week, once you get through 3 days to a week, you good. Your body will adapt to it and you won't even have those cravings. Trust me, I've done it and it works. I'm telling you, that's why I'm sharing this information with you. Drinking water helps you feel hungry. It does. She said fasting is when you look for JJ from Good Times. What is you talking about, girl? Temper, you will get through. See that if you are addicted, you will. I thought I would never do it. I thought I could never do it. And then I found, look, we got to finish watching the video. I found out even though I was counting my carbs and eliminating the sugar, those 6 to 8 hours that I had, I wasn't giving my body time to rest. I would eat lunch, Then I would wait a couple hours, eat a snack, wait another hour, eat dinner, wait another hour, eat a snack, then wait some more, then eat snack, then wait some more, then eat a snack. During that whole time, I'm not giving my body enough time to rest. In between that, in the whole 24 hours, my body probably only had 2 hours of rest time from eating. Well, including my sleep, that's four plus two when I'm up, that's just 6 hours of resting from eating. That's not a lot. Your body works 24 hours a day and you want to only give it a 6 hour break. It's not enough. Sylvia said we don't need to eat 12 of those hours. Right. Mike said I might drop to one meal a day. Okay. I eat one big meal, like 600 calories when I first eat. Okay. Then two small meals, about 300 calories in a 6 hour window. So, like 1,200 calories, not even hungry. That is good, Mike. Right, David. Most of the time you thirsty, not hungry. Yep. So I fast 18 and eat six. Yep. And if I was looking through my old glasses and look, I'm gonna say looking with my old mind, and I see Mike talking about fast for 18 hours with my mind, me with my old way of thinking, I'm like, I can't fast no 18 hours. But when you think about it and do the math, you already do 8 of those hours when you sleeping, most of y'all, sometimes 10. So if you sleep 8 hours, all you got is 10 hours left to fast. And then not counting that you probably go half the day without eating, because most of us don't like breakfast or don't eat breakfast. You skip breakfast and you eat lunch. So if you just do time management, 18 hours is really nothing because you sleep most of that away. And then the other time you're busy doing something. Oh, he said there are only 12 hours in a day. Most don't get it. Most don't get it. They were trying to wake y'all up. Deposition, sleep, eat. Ah. You only counting daylight hour. Yeah. Yep. David's trying to wake y'all up. David trying to wake y'all up. He trying to tell y'all that you need to only eat when it's light out. You don't count when the sun go down before the sunset. You should be done eating. When the sun rise, then you should eat. That's what you know. But if you're like me, when the sun down, I'm working. When the sun come up, I'm coming home, go to sleep. But I don't sleep that whole time. So I'm up for some of the sunlight. So that kind of messes you up too. If you work overnight, I count night because I may end up late, sleep late. Yeah, and I work. Yeah, but for most, like David saying, for most of us that sleep, it will be easier for you to follow the daytime. Eat according to the sun. All right, Tampa. Have a good night. Love you too. Yes, TC. Yeah, I chew. Yeah, you can chew gum if you have something in your mouth. That would help. That would help. Chew gum. Food is to give you food, but most have plenty of fuel and accumulate from eating bad. Yes, they played us. We work 8 of the 12 hours, and there may be 1.5 daytime left. Yep. He say chewing gum ain't for good teethuses. And wait a minute. Y'all cutting up. He said, I'm always thirsty. I can't feel the thirst. You can't. Yeah, that's a sign of insulin resistance. So you want to try to get that under control. You always thirsty. That's definitely a sign of insulin resistance. So you definitely want to go ahead and do a cleanse and then start fasting and start eliminating those sugars. That's the only way that you're going to get rid of that thirst, because you have to get your body under control. David said, Sylvia said, I get 8 hours of sleep. My batteries run down to zero by 11 and I sleep until 8 a.m. Okay, you get 8 hours of sleep. That's good. So that helps out with your fasting. That'll leave you only with 4 hours left to fast if you do a 12-hour one. I chew gum with my gums. Is that bad? Y'all crazy. Y'all is crazy. He said, Mike said, in the old days, people woke at 7 a.m., ate at 8, worked 9 to noon, worked till 5, ate dinner. So they ate in an 8-hour window. Yeah, people now eat from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. And that's what I was doing. Me too. And David is telling y'all what breakfast really mean. Breakfast doesn't really mean a morning meal. It means that you're breaking the fast, breaking the time from when you were not eating to starting back eating. And that doesn't necessarily have to be in the morning. People only eat 3 meals a day, small portions. Now people eat huge meals. For the sixth time. Look, I told y'all when I was eating my meals, even though I was eating like 3 meals a day, my portion size was like 3 to 4 portion size with those meals. It was a lot. It was a lot. Okay, I'm gonna pause right there because I want to get through some more of this video.
As it relates to fasting, since we had the conversation, something really massive happened in culture, which was this word Ozempic became really popular. And the drug Ozempic became really popular. I know there's various types of it, Wegovy or something else. There's lots of different versions of it. But fasting as a tool is now quite established. But Ozempic as a tool for achieving the same outcomes, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So now, first, I'm just going to say I'm not an Ozempic expert, so I can't tell you the mechanisms behind that. What I will tell you is that, again, I'm a supporter of the everyday person. And the first challenge we have with Ozempic is the cost. So is everybody going to be able to afford that to be able to improve their metabolic health? I'm a supporter of the single mom who's working 2 jobs and is trying to just put food on the table. And Ozempic at $800,000 US dollars, she's not going there.
That's
A
just
month,
a
isn't it? Is it a
month.
month?
A
A
Okay.
month. Yeah.
So the
One
first thing is it's
medication.
unattainable for so many people. Second thing is that we've got a challenge with some of the side effects. Now, there's been a lot of debate about that and the nausea and all that. Like, what is that? And some people have it, some people don't. So you have to personally decide if that works for you or not.
Now let me give y'all my spiel about Ozempic. Ozempic, I was on it. I was on it for 2 years. And what I found, and this is just for me, for my body, I didn't have no side effects, no symptoms, because I did my research before starting it. And I found out that those people that they were claiming that they had the nausea and the vomiting and the explosive diarrhea and stuff, they would admit that they wasn't sticking to the diet. Some of them was still overeating. Some of them was still they would stop taking their medication because they wanted to eat, and they would go eat and then get back on the medication. They wasn't following the instructions on how you supposed to take it. Hence, therefore, they had those side effects. So for me, when I took it, what I did was I flushed my system out. Before starting the medication, I did a cleanse. Then I started the medication on my fresh body. And I didn't have any nausea or vomiting when taking it. None at all. None at all. So, FRSA, first step for me was eliminating the snacks. Yes, definitely. Gotta eliminate the snacks. Yep. Look, Cece said, can she buy some of them sleep hours? She said she got a few, but they expensive. Mike, back when people moved around, there wasn't TVs. Yep. She said she could pay in seeds. Pay for them sleep hours and C's. People woke at 5:30, not 7. They went to bed at sundown and rose with the sun. Yep, they did sun up, sundown. I need one meal and it's on an 8-inch plate. Don't let my food touch. I drink lots of water about an hour after eating. Yeah, I found too that drinking water before and after I eat it makes me full. I've been doing that as well. So that's a good tip. And remember, there wasn't daylight savings, right? The days were longer, right, David? Sitting was at a dinner table. The rest of the time was moving. All right, let's see. We got about 10 more minutes.
The third issue is that, and this is a really interesting recent stat, is that within 2 years, 70% of Ozempic users are off Ozempic. I don't know if it's cost, I don't know if it's discomfort, I don't know what it is, but long term, that's not a phenomenal solution. So with that in mind, let's unpack what's happening from a symptomatology point of view with Ozempic. And the biggest thing is you are not hungry.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So I
That's
can
true.
tell you thousands and thousands and thousands of comments. Those two women you started this podcast off with, when people learn how to do a fasting lifestyle, their hunger goes away.
That's true
It
too.
is very, now I've never taken Ozempic, so I can't tell you like per se that if it would be the same experience. But when you learn to metabolically
For me,
switch,
it is, y'all. For
your
me, it is.
hunger goes down because without food, you go into this ketogenic energy system. You get a ketone, it turns off hunger.
So the same thing was happening for me with Ozempic. Y'all saw my journey when I started Ozempic. I wasn't hungry. I had to remind myself. I probably was eating once a day because a lot of the times because I wasn't hungry and I would forget to eat. Hence, me not being hungry, eating less. I was able to burn more fat and ketones. So that's what the Ozempic did for me. It does the same thing that the fasting is doing now.
So one of the biggest consequences we've seen in the millions of people we've seen build these fasting lifestyles is they go, I'm not hungry anymore.
I can relate.
Yeah.
When I did a ketogenic diet for a while, my hunger levels seemed to drop as well. Is that a similar thing?
Yeah. So because your blood sugar is stable.
Okay, so you're not getting the
Yeah.
spikes and
You're
drops
not
and
getting,
spikes and
yeah.
drops.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
that
got
makes
it.
sense. And is that much of the reason why you end up losing weight? Because you just end up eating a little bit less, as well as you're staying away from glucose and stuff. But
Yeah, it's two. It's that. And then in order to make a ketone, you have to burn fat. Like, think about it. Let's put it in Ozempic terms. It would be like going to the pharmacy, and in order to pay your Ozempic bill, you had to give them a little piece of fat, and then of your fat. And then you came home with the shot, you plug it in, and now you're not hungry. Okay, that's what fasting's doing.
Hold on, let me do a sound check real quick. Can you guys hear me and see me? Let me make sure. Because my phone. Okay, I think it was my phone. But I'm gonna do a quick sound check. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me. Put a one in the chat to let me know you guys can hear me and see me. Okay, good. Okay, so it's my phone. So let me answer a few of these questions. There was too many big people. Yep, there wasn't too many big people back then. They were skilled and invented to save time, meaning they turned us into consumers. They want us consuming everything. Food is their number one question. Why did you stop taking it? Honestly, FR, I only stopped taking it because I couldn't get my prescription refilled through the payment program that they had. So the manufacturer has a payment program for people that they will provide the drug for you if you fill out the application and you qualify to get the medication. And so they were supplying it for me. And so I came up on renewing my um, prescription plan, but my doctor's office closed down back home in Louisiana. And so I couldn't get my prescription renewed. I would have to have found me a new doctor down here, reestablish myself, and have them fill out the paperwork and send it in and all of that. Instead of going through all of that, and I knew it would take some time, I just decided, hey, I think I've learned enough in 2 years to do this on my own, and here I am, still maintaining. So that's why I stopped. It wasn't. I didn't want to. If I could have continued for another year, I would have, and then I would have tried it on my own. I felt like I wasn't ready to take the training wheels off, which is what Ozempic was for me. It was training wheels. She said, I will get hungry if I work really hard in my garden, but it's still around the same time of day. Yes, I used to take raspberry ketones and I didn't have an appetite. Like that decrease in appetite, it is, it works. And the only difference that I find with the Ozempic and the fasting, with this fasting, I have to find, sometimes I have to find myself, I have to do like I'll have to do like a cleanse because I start getting sugar cravings. If I end up eating something that I'm not supposed to eat, then those sugar cravings come back. So then I have to do a cleanse and then fast to get my body to reset. That fasting helps my body to reset and get rid of those sugar cravings. We got away from what we were doing, what we know feed us, and that is growing our own. You are so right, David. Yes, eating from your own garden is getting nutrition that our body needs. That's what we need to do. So the only thing I don't like about when you are on shots and pills, you're going to gain the weight back, and plus, yeah, because people don't change their mind. That's one thing that I would advocate. If you are not ready to change your, I recommend that when they give Ozempic, that they give you a dietitian, somebody you can talk to and help change your mind. I just was blessed enough to use it as an opportunity for me to grow and learn, and I was blessed enough to learn. Some people don't, because when you, it's true, if you stop taking that pill and you don't continue to do the right thing, that weight will come back. The medicine does not change your mind. It doesn't. This fasting and counting your carbs and stuff will not change your mind. You still gonna get the cravings and all of that, but you have to know how to fix it. You have to know how to take care of your own body, basically. David said, we are like plants. True, CC, that is why we should be doing our own research on what our body needs. There you go. We have to change our mindset about food, definitely. But now I want to see love, and now I want to see love and hip hop. What? Yep. We don't want to do no research. We want to watch TV, huh, David? That's what we want to do. All right, let me give y'all 5 more minutes,
Is
and then we're gonna
fasting
wrap
is
it up.
using your own fat to make this byproduct called a ketone. So you're losing weight in the process of making the ketone. And then the ketone goes up into the brain and actually shuts off the hunger hormone.
There
And
you
now you're not hungry.
Can't you see a world? Because I think with, again, this is my very limited knowledge of medicine and the biotech and pharmaceutical industry. I think what happens with patents, like medical patents, is eventually they expire. I think they expire after about 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So eventually the Ozempic patent is going to expire, which means that other people can produce that drug. I think the cost will eventually therefore go down, especially as other people start producing other iterations of the drug.
Yeah.
There becomes this price war, and you'll have all these different versions of Ozempic, but at lower cost.
Right.
Can you foresee, because I think
That's
I can,
happening now. You
a
got
world where
Wegovy, Manjaro.
most people in the Western world are taking some form of Ozempic to suppress hunger, and it's casual.
I don't know if I want to see that. I mean, the first thing I'd like to see is some long-term studies on this. I'd like to see, let's give this a little bit of time to see how it unfolds in the culture and how people react to it. And then we have to ask, how are we studying this on women? I'm gonna be the fierce advocate for making sure that this gets researched on women. So if we look at that world, I would say, okay, I'd only be willing to entertain that thought if we have some real clear data showing us long term 20, 30, 40 years that it's going to be safe. Second thing, though, that I want to say on that, and this, I go back to what you started this with. Do you feel empowered? I mean, I know people are happy. They're like, oh my God, I finally lose weight. They feel really good
Yeah,
in their body.
definitely
Like,
serious.
I don't
They're
want to
gonna find
dismiss that.
something.
And I'm not here to take that joy or excitement away from somebody who's losing weight with Ozempic. I think a fasting lifestyle is a phenomenal pair to Ozempic if that's you. But what I hear when people lose that amount of weight is that when you look at them, you're like, oh my God, you lost so much weight. They're like, yeah, I'm on Ozempic. The ones that are like, I'm going to own it. Okay, so Ozempic got the power. When I see somebody who lost weight from a fasting lifestyle, what they say is, yeah, I started to learn how to fast. And there is an internal power that I did this for myself. So again, we rob them of that internal experience. If every cure, including weight loss, is going to be found in a pill, how are we going to believe in our own bodies?
Do you know
Yeah.
the most interesting take I've heard on why Ozempic might be a really negative thing for society is actually the point you just made about discipline and about, we talked at the start of this conversation about the comfort crisis and how everything's getting easier. We can date and eat and whatever else from the comfort of our own home. And now with AI coming into the world where we're going to have AI agents where we can tell our devices to go do things for us. You play it forward a couple of years, you're looking at a world where we really don't have to do anything, like we don't have to move. We've really optimized discomfort, difficulty, challenge out of our lives. And now Ozempic offers another solution in that regard. I know that it saves lives. And I think that's a really amazing thing.
Yeah.
And if I was in such a situation, I would take it.
Yeah.
If my friends, family, children, well, I'd be the first to make sure that they were taking it to save their lives. But if we look back through history, we've made this trade-off and regretted it repeatedly. We've kind of chosen comfort and convenience at the expense of something else, which we only find out 10 or 20 years later where we go, oh my God, Jesus, maybe having these devices or being able to order food like this or whatever else was a bad idea. But we won't find out for 20, 30 years. And it's really interesting also to see this almost counter movement in culture where people are now this sort of counter movement of people that are choosing difficulty, the ice bath.
Right.
The hydro marathon where they're running across, you know what I mean? And that feels like the counter movement to this sort of comfort crisis. But Ozempic, I actually categorize as part of the comfort crisis because of the comment I read at the start from the lady who said, it bolstered my confidence and I can now do hard things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do people say that with Ozempic? I mean, it's a really interesting point. And, my general ethos on health is that we should be looking within and what we're capable of doing to heal. I am not a fan of outsourcing our health. And this can even go down to the idea of ketones.
I would say if I knew then what I know now about the fasting, I wouldn't have taken the Ozempic. I think it's about what and what. I'm getting the same results that I did when I was on Ozempic that I'm getting now, but it's much faster now that I've added the fasting. So with the counting the carbs and eliminating the sugar, I'm maintaining my labs and maintaining my weight, but the weight comes off slowly. When I added fasting on Friday, y'all, when I tell you from Friday to Tuesday, I noticed inches around my belly was gone. Like I'm like, dang, I wish I would have been knew this. But we learning. Yes. And FR Humphrey made a good statement that they do studies, but they don't include women with PCOS and then women, period. They don't include us. And let's see. David say we got to stop playing the victim and think more. That's not towards. Think more about yourself and not allowing somebody else to think for you. Okay.
There's a lot of exogenous ketones out there, and people ask me all the time, should I take exogenous ketones? And my feeling is let's get you learning how to metabolically switch so you can make your own ketone first. And if we have to go into an exogenous ketone, we will. But that's another outsource. Like we just keep outsourcing and outsourcing and outsourcing until we do not feel powerful in our own bodies. And 20, 30 years of that is going to be a serious human crisis.
I think the principle that if we don't do anything uncomfortable today, we kind of just defer the discomfort into the future is a really wonderful principle to live by. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
and I'm not saying that in the future you're going to necessarily have a physical health issue or metabolic health issue if you're choosing comfort in terms of your metabolic choices today. But you might have a relationship issue because you didn't learn, to deal with discomfort, have uncomfortable conversations. So it's interesting. It's
Really
just these
good point.
principles for life. And one of them also is that I just think a really wonderful principle that I live by is that everything has a cost. And whenever someone presents you with the idea that there's a miracle drug or a miracle cure, it's because we haven't figured out the cost yet. And the uncertainty of not knowing the cost for me is terrifying. I'd rather someone said, listen, this drug isn't perfect and it has all these issues with it and you're going to suffer in this way, but is the trade-off worth it for you? Than to present it as a miracle drug. And I kind of think Ozempic right now is viewed as a bit of a miracle drug, which scares the hell out of me.
Right. Yeah. And again, we need more time with the long-term studies. And I think what's confusing about Ozempic is it does have some amazing upsides.
Yeah.
And so we can't just totally villainize it. It's like, oh, there's some interesting things to learn here. And people who are in a massive metabolic crisis, it can be a lifeline to get them out. But again, a line that I will continue to hold is lifestyle, lifestyle, lifestyle. There is no free pass when it comes to your health. We can hack in from many different directions. We have some pretty fast paths to health, like, learning how to metabolically switch. But in the end, you are going to have to make health your responsibility and you're going to have to work for it, especially as you age.
And diet is one of those things that the consequences of a bad diet, making bad dietary choices, is kind of invisible today. You might not feel great, or you might get a little bit of a stomachache or whatever, or feel a bit bloated, but it's almost like sowing seeds for your 100-year-old self that, you don't yet see the consequence of. And this is why I think diet has to become a bit of a religion to some degree. But you don't see the internal damage. You don't see the shifting of your gut microbiome on a daily basis.
Oh, I used to say this all the time to my patients. I would say, everything you're doing with your lifestyle now is preventing you from diseases you never knew you were going to get, because you'll never get them. So you didn't even know that the 5 a.m. workout that you chose to get up and go do is going to actually save you from Alzheimer's 20 years from now. You have no idea the fasting lifestyle that you committed to is actually going to save you from some kind of hormonal cancer. Like, the list, it goes on and on, because you're doing it today.
Yeah, that's what I said.
To prevent tomorrow. And so there's no reward on that front, because prevention doesn't come with a ribbon.
You used the word ketones, and you used it in the context of fasting. Does that mean that you're an advocate of the ketogenic diet? Because the word is the same.
Yeah, thank you for asking this, because this gets confusing a lot. I'm an advocate of pulsing in ketones. And my way of encouraging people to do that is through fasting.
Why not the ketogenic diet?
So the ketogenic diet has some upsides, just like Ozempic has some upsides, and it has some downsides. So moving processed carbs out of your diet is always a good idea. Bringing your carb level down so your blood sugar comes down, always a good idea. But when the ketogenic diet came out, what ended up happening is people were just eating meat or eating, fat, and they weren't eating any fruits and vegetables. Okay, for women, fruits and vegetables are really important. You got to have that fiber to feed a set of bacteria in your gut that break estrogen down. So that's why when I talk about keto, I always say it's ketobiotic, because I brought the carb level back up. I was like, yes, stay off of processed carbs. But if you want a ketone, you're going to get that ketone by attaching a fasting window to every single day and learning to metabolically switch. So you get over here and you make a ketone from fasting, not from manipulating your food over and over and over again, which has a long-term challenge.
How long do I have to fast for in order to metabolically switch?
Yeah, so 8 hours is usually what they say, where the system starts to move from sugar burner to fat burner. It usually takes about 4 hours to get over there. So we always say
For
12.
for additional hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. So 12 hours. And now you're pretty much over into this fasting window. Your intelligent body, what it's doing is it's saying it's been 12 hours. Glucose hasn't gone up, and we haven't had any nutrients. Well, we're going to switch into our other fuel source, and we're going to burn fat to make a ketone. So everybody's a little different because some people don't switch as easy. Some people take a little longer to make a ketone. I mean, we saw some incredible hurdles that people hit trying to get into the fasted state that were because what I call their metabolic switch was sluggish. They had never really practiced this before. And so it didn't, when they were going 12 hours, all of a sudden they weren't making a ketone and they were just hungry. And so what we started to do is teach them things like, okay, this is a large reason why the new book is around, is because I needed to create a food manual to help them clean up their food system so they could switch over into the fasted system much easier.
Okay, so we're gonna stop right there and put a pin right there, because I want you guys. I really wanted you to hear her suggestion on how long you should fast, and the main point is everybody's different, but the typical normal person, they say at least 12 hours, because they think after 4 hours your body starts to make the switch to where it starts to do the healing, and everything starts working in alignment. So 4 hours, if you just do 4 hours, that's not, you need to at least start off with 8 hours. After those 8 hours, if you notice things are changing in your body, this is where you become in tune with your body. You notice after you doing it for 8 hours, you're noticing a difference. You're noticing you're not hungry. You're noticing the sugar cravings are going down. Go ahead and extend that to the 12 hours. And then some people even do 16 or even 24. And how you could do that, you can plan to eat one day of the week and fast the next day. Eat the next day, fast the next day. Eat one day. Some people do it regiments like that, fast for 24 hours, but then they eat. So they probably like eat um 4 days a week and fast 3 days a week, something like that. And you alternate between your eating and fasting days. But, at least 12 hours. Starting off, I would suggest 8 hours so that you can notice these changes, and then try to extend it to 12, because you're going to sleep 8 hours. Some of us, that's the purpose of them telling you you need 8 to 10 hours of sleep, because when you're sleeping, you're basically giving your body time to rest and recoup. Then when you get up after those 8 hours, don't eat directly. Wait 4 more hours. And there go your 12 hours right there. So that's what I would recommend. For those of you who don't sleep that time, it just means that you'll have a longer amount of time that you'll have to intentionally not eat. So you guys had some good comments in here, and I highlighted a couple of them so that those who are on the Facebook side, if they couldn't see it, they could see it on the screen. Um, God's Desire made a great point. She was saying that the body is powerful on its own. We just have to tap into it and let it work for us. And basically, a lot of you guys were echoing the same thing. And Sylvia made a comment about those who are on the Ozempic, because Cece was saying that some people were having anxiety issues because they was breaking down because they couldn't get it, and that goes with what I was saying. If somebody is on Ozempic, I really think they need to receive counseling for that, because Ozempic needs to go along with some kind of way of changing your mind, even with these lifestyle changes that we're doing right now. Whether you're taking a pill or not, it's not changing your mind. You have to change your mindset. And you do that by practicing it and getting it in a habit of doing it. And this is what Sylvia was saying. They didn't change their mind, and therefore that's why they failed with it. God's Desire said healing deliver is important too. Fasting and having a healthier gut. Definitely. Definitely. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss any more. Sylvia says, I tried to do 3-day fast once per month, and that's good. And she found out that that works for her body. All right, Analytic, thank you for coming. Have a good night. David said, the principal coming into class. Let's see. Let's see. I wish I could sleep. I could bring that. I could sleep that long. I know. I know. See, why you don't? Oh, she's talking to sleep. David says he sleeps at least 6 hours. And Cece, I bet you when you start the like if you start fasting a little bit, it'll help you sleep a little bit longer. And well, look. But Sylvia said it could be a part of the change, and we can't help that. We cannot help that. All right, y'all. So that's all I have for tonight. We're gonna pick up this discussion again this weekend. As I said, I'm gonna be overhauling y'all this weekend. Friday, we're gonna do the Sugar Shack, which will be 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern. We'll be here having a good old time. And then Saturday morning, I'm gonna go to the farmers market. It wasn't open last Saturday, so I'm gonna go this Saturday morning. And then later on Saturday evening, we'll do continue this because we got two videos we gotta finish. We're gonna finish this one and the one about the insulin resistance because these things go hand in hand. We need to know all of this information so that we can be successful because it's working. It can work for you if you work it. I sound like a commercial, right? It'll work for you if you work it. No, that sound like the uh Alcohol Anonymous stuff. Yeah. It'll work for you if you work it. But I thank y'all for being here. I got to get myself ready to get out of here and head into work tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you that joined me tonight on YouTube and on Facebook. Um, Thank you guys for commenting back and forth. If you're catching the replay, hey, I appreciate you too. If you guys have any questions or anything that you need to reach out to me for, you can reach me at bayousugargarden@gmail.com. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, and I hope this information helps you like it has been blessing me. Okay, so you guys enjoy the rest of your. Oh, thank you, LGG. I sure will, and you have a good night too. If you working too, have a good work night. Thank you, FR Humphrey. No problem, no problem. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Peace and blessings, everyone. See y'all in these YouTube streets. Good night, y'all.